What you are about to hear may be offensive, but we don't really give a fuck.
So, David, I hear this new show coming up, the Fortean Slip.
You know, I don't know where these douchebags are coming from.
Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator. What he's doing with this Chris dude, I have no idea.
Christopher York is fucked up. The dude is seriously fucked up.
Put that on the show.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Because I know what that means.
You know where this is going.
Chris, have you ever had an experience in the woods?
If you consider getting blown by a friend behind some trees an experience in the woods, Steve, then yes, I have.
Christopher York? I saw him naked!
This show is gonna be fucked up.
I'd like to tell you all this show is going to be good, but let's face facts. And welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode 3. The Ancient Aliens Stole My Baby in Nome, Alaska episode. With me as always, the man with an always broken computer, Steve Alcorn. And our special guest, joining us this week only, Matt Knapp. Matt.
Chris.
It's so good to talk to you, finally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we've shot emails back and forth. You've had your people contact my people. Finally, our schedules lined up just right where I was able to be here.
The moon, the stars, the planets have aligned on this night for us to talk about this very thing.
Absolutely.
Steve, the computer problem's fixed tonight?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Oh, great. So, we watched this.
Listen.
What?
I have a free laptop that was given to me, and the screen is broken, and so, you know, I have to hook it into a monitor, and then the thing overheats on me all the time, and so, you know, we'll figure it out.
Steve put his fucking computer together on an episode of Junkyard Wars.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, was Sanford and Sons having a special? Or?
So anyway,
I'm a cheap bastard.
Yes, you are. So anyway, we watched this lovely film called The Fourth Kind to take a look at alien abductions. This movie supposedly takes place, or it does take place, I guess, in the story, in Nome, Alaska, and centers around this Dr. Abigail Tyler, and it's about her study into the sleeping habits of people in the Nome area, which I guess is pretty remote.
Well, it is in Alaska.
Yes. Although, you know, I'm sure there are some areas in Alaska that aren't as remote.
I don't know 'em.
What's that?
I said, I don't know 'em.
Fuck you.
I've never been there.
That information is unknown.
Unknown. Tonight it is, anyway. But so we watched this movie, and you know we've all had our discussions about it. So, I mean, we all know at this point that the movie itself is a farce.
What?
What?
Yes. Well, Steve, you're the one that told me, so.
Oh, forgot about that.
Well, it had me fooled.
Did it?
Yes, all the way and past the introduction credits until it actually began.
I'm going to throw myself under the bus and say I actually bought into it for the first watch. Because I saw it, I think when it first came out on DVD. And after the second time I had watched it, I did a little bit of research of my own online. And that's when I discovered that, oh, wait, this didn't really happen this way.
Well, that's how this episode kind of came to fruition. I mean, you harassed me to watch this piece of shit.
Right. Well, and and ultimately a piece of shit it is.
It was very similar to literally watching a piece of shit, except without the ability to flush the toilet and provide some sort of entertainment watching it go down the drain.
So, Steve, you did a little bit of research on the movie. What,
right?
You know, if you want to relay what it was that you found in your delving.
Well, I actually bought into the movie too for the first, couple minutes when that lovely actress, I can't remember her name, was saying that this is all true. And then they did the interview with the quote-unquote real-life Abigail Tyler, and immediately I knew that it was probably not real footage. So I searched her name, and of course it came up, the Wikipedia article and saying that it was, not a real story. But the thing is, the production company or the movie company actually created fake news stories and used real Alaska newspapers, and they were sued over that. And then they had to give some, I forget the amount, I think it was like $25,000 to scholarship funds in Alaska. So,
wow. I mean, the United States government does that every day, and nobody gets sued over it.
But
I'm sorry, not a political show.
This this is not a fucking political show.
But yeah, there was a lot of things like that. The only real person in that movie was the guy that was interviewing the fake Abigail Tyler, and he's the guy who actually
directed the movie.
Right, he directed the movie. He's the only real person in that movie. Of course, his role in the movie wasn't real, but he was the only real person in there that used his real name.
Right. So. But the way they kind of tried to tie it in with like the ancient alien theory, and they had the translations, and like I said, I completely bought into it the first time that I watched it. I was a fucking lemming. I just followed the people over the fucking cliff. So
I was going to make a lemming noise, but I don't know how they sound.
I don't know how they sound either. Yeah. I used to play the video game. But yeah, because it sounded plausible to me the way it came across, but you do any type of research into it and you find that it's just a bag of horse shit. But it does, beg to question different, alien abduction theories and UFOs and, aliens, what are they? And we even touched on this in the last episode with, I think, because the John Teeter there had suggested that aliens are actually time travelers from the future with, and the UFOs are just the time machines that they use. So.
But that's on a different world line, I believe.
Yeah, it's a divergent fucking world line.
So don't worry, in the future, we're still ignorant bastards.
In the future, we don't turn into aliens.
Well, my questions about this movie and the possibilities of this movie are: she was using hypnosis to bring back, repressed memories, right? So I've always questioned that. Are these memories being suggested by the person who's doing it? Well, I guess a lot of people don't even think hypnosis is real in the first place. But if it is, let's assume that it is. Is she implanting these memories by suggestion? And I've always questioned that. What do you think, Matt?
Well, hypnosis is kind of stuck in the world of stage magicians and performers for a reason. I would think that, hypnosis isn't something that constitutes scientific evidence of anything.
Right.
How do you know the person is actually hypnotized? How do you know it's not the power of suggestion? And, nothing was coming out about like, oh, my uncle touched me in inappropriate places whenever I was 4. My biggest setback about this movie is apparently the word Nome translates into Pussy Town, because everybody in the town were like these fragile pussies and had no backbones. Because I'm sorry, but insomnia and seeing an owl at your window is not a reason to go see a therapist. Like, everybody in this town was having a nervous breakdown for no reason. And that's kind of what...
They were being abducted by aliens, Matt.
Oh.
Yeah, but they didn't know that. They didn't know that at the time.
Right.
But
so
deep in their subconscious, they did.
Whenever you have trouble sleeping... Well, sorry, Chris. I'll move on to Steve. Steve, whenever you have trouble sleeping, like, what's your remedy for that? Do you go see a psychologist? Or, turn on a movie like The Fourth Kind? And
I see a psychologist regularly, but it has nothing to do with my sleep issues.
Well, I'm sorry for uncovering that. This ends our hypnosis session.
Dad.
At the count of 3, you wake up.
My son just interrupted me by telling me he has to go to the bathroom. He's 12 years old. He can go to the bathroom without asking.
I hope you're not going to hold it for him.
Now, one thing they did do correct in this movie was, how, like, in real life, the person will look like me, for instance. And then the theatrical representation, they'll cast, like, Channing Tatum or something. Or whoever. So they did a really good job at having a really hot chick play the part of a really ugly actress.
Right, I like that too. And that's, I think, part of the reason why people would buy into that movie in the first place, because that lady who played the quote-unquote real doctor was not an attractive woman. I'm sorry if she's listening.
she was the ugly one. She was the ugly one and the hot one. In case there's any confusion, the ugly one was in black and white.
Are you saying that she would be taken home by the wingman?
I'm saying
who's the wingman's wingman?
Hopper might be. He would be atop of her. She has a tattoo that says "pull pin, count to 3 and throw."
Yeah, but obviously that was done so that you'd buy into the story more,
Right.
But yeah, she was. Sorry. I think I just offended a whole bunch of people.
What about the stories? I mean, seriously, why were these people going to see a therapist? I've just been having a real hard time falling asleep at night.
Alaska.
Because
I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. There's an owl at my window, and it's just staring at me, and I just can't remember.
It was a movie, Matt.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, Matt. This was not real life.
A movie.
But it was supposed to be real life.
Right, it was supposed to be. But I think, they live in Nome, Alaska. Wouldn't you be depressed?
I was impressed by the doctor's flight capabilities, her being a pilot and all, having to fly into Nome.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was kind of impressive.
That makes it much more believable.
Yes.
She didn't actually fly into Nome. That wasn't Nome that they showed in the movie. It was the
You're ruining it.
It was the Travelocity Gnome.
It wasn't even filmed in Nome. That's the funny part. And
where was she flying from? Did she own her own airplane?
Yes, in the movie she owned. Well, I don't know if she owned it, but because
she was flying an airplane by herself.
Right. I'm guessing she owned it in the movie. They didn't quite explain that.
She's just in an airplane. In this next shot, I want to have her in an airplane.
She's just amazing.
What if she had flown into the owl and solved everyone's problems?
That would have ended the story.
Then she would have had to land it in the river like Sully there with the fucking after the what was it, the ducks or the goose hit his fucking plane.
I've seen the way you look at my wife. Sorry, wrong movie.
There was
that movie, by the
way. There was actually one true aspect of the movie, and that was that there were a lot of suicides around the time that film was made in Alaska.
You live in Alaska, of course there is.
Right, and of course, the FBI actually went and investigated why there was so many suicides. I don't know what they came up with, but
they were like, the sun, it just doesn't go down, and then it just doesn't come up.
So a lot of people got upset because, they felt that this movie was capitalizing on tragedy, which it kind of was,
That's exactly what it did.
And blaming it on aliens. And I think, what's his name from Ancient Aliens? What's that guy's name, Chris?
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
I think he must have been involved in this movie because, everything was an alien.
The man with the craziest hair and UFOs.
I like Giorgio. He's pretty cool.
I was kind of not sure about him in the beginning, and he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and after I had heard that, it kind of brought him down a little bit, to a more, I guess, a more tolerable level.
I still like Giorgio.
Because he's not saying it is aliens. He's just saying he doesn't know.
We have somebody like that in our community. But what about the sheriff? The sheriff also drives me nuts in this movie.
Oh, Will Patton's character?
Yes.
Good old Will Patton. I love a movie with Will Patton. I'll watch any fucking movie with Will Patton.
I love Will Patton, but the actual character of the sheriff bugged me. Because towards the end, I guess there's no reason why we should keep information from people. When the little girl's abducted and the house is being watched by the deputy.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay, you've got your deputy's eyewitness testimony. You've got a girl that suddenly vanished and her family is all emotional and distraught about it. And you have at least a partial dash cam video of an obvious UFO flying above the house. And he's still now damn it, quit coming to me with these damn alien stories. I told you. How much more do you need? He's just an asshole throughout the whole movie. Why wasn't he having trouble sleeping and seeing the owl at the window?
Maybe he was the owl.
He was a closeted alien abductee.
Mind blown.
Yes.
Okay, explain.
I don't think he protesteth too much.
Here's something I did not understand. So her husband killed himself and wasn't murdered?
Right, correct.
Why did they throw that in there?
I think that was to try.
What did that have to do with the aliens?
I think that was to kind of cast a shadow of doubt on the whole story at the end of it. Because you notice how they wait. Everybody knows that this is what fucking happened, but they wait until the very end of the movie to bring it up to this fucking stupid bitch that her husband was not murdered, but took his own life.
Yeah, after some guy kills his whole family, because of her counseling.
Right. Nome, Alaska.
They still don't tell her. And she still counsels more people, and they potentially could kill their families. Let's not tell her yet.
Is there not another therapist in town? I mean, okay, let's see here. I need to go see a therapist because I'm having emotional problems, mental problems. Let's see here. There's that one whose husband offed himself, and her last patient killed his entire family and himself. But she's going around saying that her husband was murdered viciously, but she couldn't see the killer's face. Yeah, I think I'll go to her.
I like how in the movie, the guy kills his family and himself, okay? And then, the next week, one of her patients is like, yeah, I want you to put me under too.
Yeah, that's a great idea, jackass. And can you imagine her receptionist out there texting her friend girlfriend, I gots to get me another job.
Here's the thing, Nome can't be that big of a place, so the news of this guy killing his family had to have gotten around,
Yeah.
Everybody had to know about. I think in the movie, I'm pretty sure the guy that comes to her after that brings it up.
Yeah, he makes reference to it.
Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, and I still want to do it.
Well, okay.
Maybe he just hated his wife that much that he just wanted to have an excuse to.
Let's see here. If she hypnotizes me, I can kill the bitch and get away with it.
This insanity defense is going to work out great. I mean, ultimately, the movie isn't great, but to me, it was a good take on the idea of alien abductions.
Unfortunately, it was pretty close to what I envision reality of an alien abduction would go like.
Right. I mean, they weren't fucking pretty cool, hey, I'm just going to stick this in your ass and bring you back home type of aliens.
Right. And everybody's batshit crazy and seeing owls at the windows and having trouble sleeping and none of it really made any sense.
And meanwhile, people are, scraping the floor, trying to hold on, getting dragged out of their rooms. Horrified. The aliens are not being cool. They're fucking breaking people's backs.
Yeah, there's no phone call from Qui-Gon Jinn. You're about to be taken.
Yeah.
Nothing. No warning. It just happens. And then
you're fucked.
Forget about it, but just the emotional trauma from it won't go away. That kind of sucks.
Yeah. It did kind of come off the way you would expect it, though. That if aliens are coming down and abducting people, I don't think they're doing it in a quaint manner.
No. If they had just had a keyboard player, they could have spoken with the aliens and solved all this problem.
Right.
No, wrong movie, sorry. A speak and spell, a saw blade, and some Reese's Pieces.
Wait a minute.
Episode
I need to build something out of these mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's the second episode in a row that Matt has mentioned speak and spell.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes, because
I never had one as a kid, and I always wanted
in the Titter episode.
Yes, I think this is a deep-seated issue.
Every time I think
there's
about...
a psychologist in Nome.
Yeah, Abigail Tyler would like to have you over for a few sessions.
No, even better, at the end of the movie, they tell you that she's moved to New York. Oh, let's stick her in the most populated city in America. That will work.
Hey, her back's broken. She can't do any harm anymore.
I would like to try hypnosis, if you don't mind. No thanks.
My last 5 patients committed suicide and killed their families.
At the end of the movie, it seemed to me like they were trying to suggest that it was all her imagination. Did you guys get the same thing?
Well, I think that's what I was saying when when they bring up the fact that her husband killed himself and the whole time she believed he was murdered, I think that was the way they were casting the shadow of doubt on the whole movie.
Right, and then her son, if you read the ending, credits where it says who was involved and all that bullshit, it said her son, disowned her and still won't speak to her to this day. So he was supposedly in the house when the girl got abducted, right?
Correct.
So he would know. And he had always denied that happened that way, or he didn't see it or something. But if she was still in the house and there was
he doesn't exist, Steve.
Well, yes,
he's an actor in a make-believe world.
The script says he was estranged from.
So wait, it's okay. It's okay for Matt to get all upset because the sheriff was an asshole. But I can't question. Jeez.
Basically,
how it is around here.
Carry on.
So anyway, was the whole movie a figment of her imagination? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, there was a recording with an ancient lost language on it, which kind of throws a wrench into that whole plot. Like they had actual physical evidence of something going on.
Right. If
it was her imagination, how did her back get broken, and how did the little girl come up missing? So I that confused me, and I didn't like the way that movie ended because it didn't really explain, to me anyway, to my satisfaction, what the hell happened.
Well, they never found the little girl, and she never left the house. But yet she was still blamed for taking the daughter. She didn't leave. She can't take the daughter.
Right. So it was, the whole movie in a way was confusing. If they're suggesting it's all her imagination, this part of it does, some parts of it don't match up to that. If they're suggesting that it really happened, then other parts don't match up. You know what I mean? So to me, it was, I don't know, confusing. And then I didn't get the owl. I didn't understand the owl, but Chris explained that to me. So,
see, I came away thinking this was just an anti-owl movie.
Oh yeah, well that could have been.
Yeah, destroy the habitat of.
Yes. This was sponsored by the timber industries of America.
Now I did notice something though. At the beginning of the movie, when she first started getting these stories about the owl, it was always a white owl. And then that last guy, I think, the one that asked to be put under hypnosis, didn't he describe it as a brown owl? Or did that?
I don't remember it being that way, but
everybody else's head.
But I may have missed it.
Perhaps if we hypnotized you.
Yes. Wait a minute.
Could bring that memory back to the front.
I'm getting very sleepy.
That was another thing. What's the deal with that? Like, okay, I'm going to put you under now.
1, 2, 3.
You're tired. Okay, you're asleep. Okay, what do you see? It's that easy, really?
It's that simple, Matt.
I always thought there was a pocket watch involved, and they shake it back and forth.
Yeah, or like one of those swirly black and white things, or.
Well,
apparently not.
What is the excuse that they use? What is the excuse that they use, though? The hypnotists, that they can't do it on a broadcast, or, they because
we'd all be barking like dogs.
Because we'd all be fucking hypnotized.
But how great would that have been, like during the hypnosis, if they're like, okay, now I'm going to count backwards from 3, and whenever I get to 1, you're going to awake, and every time you hear a bell, you're a chicken. 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, what if she was hypnotizing people and implanting the thought that they were being abducted by aliens? Ooh, there's a plot twist.
It's a movie. It's a movie.
There's a lot of hypnotist stories about people being hypnotized and then remembering these alien abductions. Betty and Barney Hill was the most famous there. Of course, I believe a lot of that story. So
that's the one in Portsmouth, right, Steve?
Right,
Portsmouth, New Hampshire,
and it was in the 60s.
Portsmouth. Yeah.
Just some of the things about that particular story have always been convincing to me. Other things not so much. But so I still don't like the idea of hypnotism to bring back repressed memories, if hypnotism even works at all. I don't know. I think the power of suggestion is pretty powerful, but hypnotism itself, I don't know. But anyway, Betty and Barney Hill, that story has always, and I think that a lot of elements of that story got into this movie, the way that went down, as far as the hypnotism and the, because I don't know, today, Matt, are you familiar with that story at all?
A little bit, yes.
Were they anally probed?
I'm not that familiar with it, Steve.
I had to bring
according to the Vivid Entertainment production of the event, yes, they were.
Well,
by each other before the aliens did it to them.
So the big joke about alien abductions is always that they anal probe you. Where did that start? Who's the first anal probe? That's what I want.
43-year-old man.
was that
hanging out in the bathtub?
I don't remember.
Oh, that's a good question. What is the first report of being anally probed by an alien?
Yes, I want to know.
It hails from San Francisco in the 1940s.
I don't think that was an alien, Matt.
Oh.
No, it wasn't. At all. But then again, neither were the owls in Nome.
Also known as the night the music died.
So, yeah, but the whole Ancient Aliens tie-in with that I thought was really kind of cool in the movie. What the fuck are you laughing about now, you dickhead?
Nothing in the movie. Yes, it was. It was cool.
It was an interesting tie-in.
Yes, kind of like the rest of the movie, how he took bits and pieces of different movies he liked and made a movie out
right.
of it.
I mean, he tied into something that was going on in pop culture. Because, I mean, Ancient Aliens has been around for a little while. The show there on, what is it, on the History Channel or some fucking shit?
One of those places.
H2, I believe. History 2.
History 2.
Ooh, yeah, because we needed a second one.
We didn't have enough fucking World War II and Hitler.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a big fan of the History Channel. You guys stop it.
Yeah.
So is Ozzy Osbourne.
I love Mysteries of the Museum. I love that show.
Okay.
Yes.
There's this show back in the day called All Creatures Great and Small or something like that you'd have probably really been into.
I don't believe I've ever seen that, but I probably would have.
All Creatures Great and Small.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was this dreadfully boring show that was on like PBS. That was a British drama series.
I love PBS.
The only thing I watched on PBS was fucking Sesame Street and Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
Bob
Which one
Ross.
are the same?
Fucking
Awesome.
rock. I want to bring Bob Ross back from the dead and have him paint a UFO.
Okay.
I want to have him paint an alien abduction.
It has to.
If you could bring Bob Ross back from the dead, you'd really have him fucking paint you a UFO.
I would have him paint
That's what you do.
an alien abduction, and I'd want him to say, "This is a happy little alien."
Yeah, master
greatest thing
controller
ever.
of the dead, and he wants a UFO painted. How about I'll fucking paint you a UFO, and you can let him rest.
So what would you do if you had Abe Lincoln come back from the dead?
We'd play cards.
You bring a dead guy back. Oh no, this isn't the greatest scientific discovery in the world. I just want the guy to paint me a fucking
Paint me a
UFO.
UFO. A happy little UFO.
Yeah, with a fucking paint scraper.
All right, so Ancient Sumerian.
Ancient Sumerian.
Back on topic.
Yes.
Yes. Go.
I don't fucking know anything about it.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one who brought it
fucking
up,
topic
man.
for a reason.
Yes.
It's Ancient Sumeria.
Joining us now is
go.
my alter ego that knows everything about the Sumerian language.
Well, you brought it up, man.
No, I just thought it was
I
thought it was an interesting tie-in to throw that in there, and it was done to to just tie it in with the fucking shows that have coming out about that subject.
Ancient
yeah,
aliens.
about ancient aliens. It was done as a promotional tool.
The movie would have been a lot better if she had gotten naked.
The actress or the ugly chick?
Mila.
Because if it was the ugly chick, I would have turned it off right
Mila
then.
Jovovich is always good naked.
Okay,
Never-
then
never
I would
been
have kept
naked.
watching.
What?
I would have kept watching then, you know. But if it was the other chick, the one that played
You
the
kept watching
the real
anyway.
doctor,
You watched it to the fucking end. Don't give me that shit.
You would have watched it if Will Patton
Fuck,
had
I watched it
dropped
till it
Trout.
said copyright, whatever. You know. I watched it all the way to the end.
Steve was like waiting for that fucking big reveal after the credits.
Yeah, the big reveal.
I was very disappointed too because it
Come on,
wasn't one.
Sheriff, show him some small town justice.
Yeah. As the sheriff pulls out the fucking yellow pages and starts beating her about the stomach.
You know, after your husband killed himself, I'm sure he gets lonely in that big old house of yours.
Well, listen, if the aliens did,
My deputies and I would like to pull a train on you.
Yeah, I don't know about the aliens, but I would have anally probed her.
Right. So really, though, if the guy that killed his family was anally probed, that explains it all right there. You know, I'd have probably killed my family too. Fucking anally probed. I wouldn't want that to come out as public knowledge, so I'd be well, at least shoot myself. You know.
Especially in Nome. Going back to the
Nome,
small town
Alaska.
fascinating. You hear about
I would
Charlie
not
getting,
really kill my family.
You have to fly
I just want to
in.
put that disclaimer in there.
Fly into Nome, Alaska.
My family is safe.
Can't drive there.
Trust me.
And that other therapist friend of hers, like, what drugs was he prescribing her during this whole ordeal?
Elias Codius?
Yes. Elias
That's gotta be the
Codius
worst-
Maximus.
That's got to be the worst job. That's got to be the worst job on planet Earth. A therapist for a therapist.
That has patients that kill themselves.
Yeah. And have you ever noticed there's nothing more boring than movie dialogue between two therapists? Like analyzing the shit out of one another and remaining calm the whole time. Asking each other how does it make them feel to be analyzed by another person in their profession. And there's always that one comment that they throw in there. I would be doing the same thing you are.
Yeah, she said that, and then she's, "Oh, you always say that." You know, I was like, "How many times have you seen this guy?" And you're a doctor person.
How many times have you been in this situation with him?
And how,
That's what you always say.
and how many times has he had his hands down your pants?
That's the important
Yeah,
part.
I think the whole movie was really a cover-up because those two were fucking each other.
They were repressing. She was repressing memories of Elias Codius dogging her from behind.
He was the head of an organized slave trade. Sex slave, just for the record. Don't want, any burning Mississippi references.
This show just went downhill fast.
This show went.
Could it go any farther?
This show went downhill like the fucking first time I pressed record.
Yeah.
I think it went downhill when we came up with the idea.
We started at the bottom of the sinkhole and we're trying to work our way up.
Yeah.
Failing rapidly.
But we just throw monkey wrenches into our own plans. We're the most counterproductive show trying to move up in the world.
I wouldn't
That's
have
all right. Our millions and millions of listeners appreciate it.
Yes.
So, Chris, I hear we had like 675,000 listeners on the last show. That was pretty good.
You heard wrong.
Oh, 675 listeners?
Million.
Is that what you said?
100 million.
We were actually voted most professional podcast on the internet for 2013.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Absolute most professional. Like, that's amazing.
I'm sure
I think there's going to be a Marconi Award for that.
I'm sure the Board of Judges is listening right now, too.
Tune in weekly.
Tune in next time. As Steve says, titties!
What do you guys think about alien abductions? Are you like pro or against? Not the actual act of it happening, but like, do you think it really happens?
I am not adverse to the possibility of it happening. However, I'm not going to say for sure that it does and or has happened.
Way to ride the fence, Chris.
You're fucking right.
Don't take a
nice
on that particular subject. I won't.
I refuse to.
Do I believe that there are aliens / UFOs? I believe that there's definitely something. I believe that there.
What a great answer.
No, I believe that there is. I believe that there is alien life. Do I believe that it visits this solar system? I don't know if I buy into that. I do believe there are such things as UFOs. Do I know what they are? It could be a bunch of different things. I mean, really? Do we have any substantial proof that it's, yes, this is alien technology, it's an alien craft? Do we have that? No. Nobody can.
And we call it Velcro.
Yes, Velcro. This is what we learned from the aliens.
We've learned how to make synthetic cheese and put it in an aerosol dispenser.
My opinion on alien abductions is probably not. I guess I'll have to give the politically correct answer too. I guess it's possible, but highly, highly improbable. Although,
so what do you think's going on with people that say that they've been abducted?
I don't know. I like I said, there's a lot of things about like the Betty and Barney Hill story that is very convincing. She made that star map years before anybody even knew that the stars were aligned that way in that star system. And
but couldn't have that been like a quilting pattern or something?
It could have been. I'm guessing. Yeah. Maybe she
and all the possibilities of randomness.
I don't know. And then you got the Travis Walton story. What was the movie?
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky? Yeah. So, and that one's, I don't know. How do you explain those kind of things? So I guess the possibility is there.
Well, there's always the possibility that somebody can pass a fucking polygraph. That possibility does exist.
Yes.
However,
I'm not getting
on the scale.
For the record, I am not talking about polygraph examinations ever again. Go ahead.
Why?
You guys don't know the story. I'm not going to say it.
All right, so leaving Steve out of the conversation of polygraph.
We're going to have a talk.
You brought up the fucking movie. But
didn't like all those guys pass the polygraph test?
And with the exception of one guy who I believe they said was kind of jittery, at least in the movie version. I've never looked into it.
But see, there's a couple of different ways of looking at it. One you could look at as, well, back then, during that time era and everything, people would be less likely to pass a polygraph test, I believe, because they wouldn't have had the information on how to pass one. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
But at the same time, the technology wasn't probably up to the standards that it is today on the machine itself.
Yeah, the machines nowadays are a lot more sensitive than the ones that they had back then.
The theory is that if you truly believe what you're saying, you'll pass the polygraph examination.
But so, Steve, you aren't talking about it, so shut up.
No, I won't talk about polygraph exams.
Hey!
Let me restate. I won't talk about polygraph examiners, okay? But I will talk about the examinations themselves.
Okay.
So
you have a personal vendetta against...
So now that we've had an update from Steve Alcorn...
No.
I think Steve has some issues here that we need to talk about.
We can talk about it after the show is over, too.
Possibly some hypnosis needs to be involved. I, however,
those who know,
probing Steve.
Those who know what I'm talking about, if they listen to this show, which I doubt, because nobody listens. Well, 65 million people do. But, no. See, now I just dropped a number again. It was 650 million, wasn't it?
Well, 90% of our listeners is Chris.
Yeah, I just keep clicking on the... I just go to different people's houses and click on the video.
I just love to hear my
Chris,
voice.
If you click on it from your own house, it'll still count the views every time.
Listen.
You don't have to,
don't destroy my dream, Steve.
You don't have to be breaking into other people's houses to click the fucking video.
I'm grabbing everybody's phone, downloading the YouTube app. Fucking watch it. But there's no video. And fucking listen.
Well, there's a reason that polygraph examinations aren't allowed, at least for the most part, in a court of law, because they're not scientific. So who knows about that? But to have everybody pass
what would make the guy just suddenly appear naked in a phone booth out in the middle of nowhere? Wait,
why?
Don't answer.
Here's the bigger question. Why is there a phone booth out in the middle of nowhere?
Hey, listen.
That's usually where you need one.
Superman needs to get changed somewhere.
Why would the guy freak out over a little bit of marmalade syrup dropping on his face?
Maybe
I have to admit.
Maybe
I have to admit that I have never seen that movie.
Maybe he's really afraid of a bukkake party.
And how did I know it was marmalade? That's the real question.
That's a question to ponder.
I think you just want it to be marmalade.
Well, if you just take the story at its very base. A group of guys are out hanging out doing a bunch of work out in the woods. After a hard day's work, they all get drunk. One of them disappears for a while, shows up naked in a phone booth. That's not that far-fetched for reality, folks. I mean, there's no reason to enter aliens into that equation. It happens here weekly.
Right. Somebody come pick me up. What happened?
And by here, I mean...
Did I sleep with that chick on the couch?
That's not a chick, dude.
Well, how long was Travis Walton gone? He was gone for a week, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was gone for more than just a little bit of time. But, I mean, Matt said, though, it's not completely far-fetched for a fucking dude to just wind up disappearing for a little bit and then showing back up after drinking with his buddies out in the fucking forest.
Yeah, but he was when he was found, he wasn't far from where he was lost, right?
But what if he had the beer goggles on at the bar, and he saw a man dude or a man that he thought was a woman.
Hi, Daddy.
Exactly. And his buddies think it's funny, so they don't say anything. And he leaves with Frida or whatever his name was. So if you look at it that way, his friends could all pass a polygraph exam because Travis was abducted. And they'd be keeping their mouth shut about it. We all saw the same thing, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And whenever he came back, waking up naked in the phone booth, makes sense. And then of course he wouldn't want to talk about it and be acting all skittish and weird.
And of course he'd want to think about it as marmalade and aliens.
Yeah. So see, it all ties back into your bukkake theory.
You heard it here first.
We've unraveled the mystery, folks. This case is shut. I mean...
We're closing the door on this one, ladies and gentlemen.
I can also scratch one off my bucket list because I've always wanted to meet Travis Walton. And
you're not
I better not. Now it'd probably be a bad idea.
That's probably the last.
Hey, wait, are you the guy that insinuated that I got abducted by a transsexual?
Oh, you're a fan of the show. Mr. Walton, will you sign my Fortean Slip t-shirt? Things not to say at an alien convention.
And on that note, Steve, do we have any news this week?
I've always got news.
You've always got news.
Of course I've always got news.
We still need a news bumper. Dun, dun, dun.
That's not very newsy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so my first story comes from the great state of Mississippi and brought to us by WJTV.com. And it's about a chupacabra. So there's this guy in Mississippi. He says he killed a chupacabra.
He had a hairless dog.
It's a chupacabra.
Chinese crested?
Anyway, he's a coon
Are there
hunter.
spines growing out of its back?
Whoa, Steve.
What?
That's totally inappropriate for this time period.
Don't
talk about coon hunters from Mississippi. That's way off base.
That's not what I'm referring to, Matt.
Oh.
No.
So this guy doesn't hunt
anyway,
raccoons?
This guy that... I don't know what you're referring to.
What did you think?
I'm referring to...
Steve!
I don't know. Listen, I'm trying to read the news here.
Right, the guy with the hairless dog from Mississippi.
Okay.
Go! Now you got me all...
This is what it sounds like when dogs die.
I say chupacabra and you guys go fucking nuts already on me.
Sorry.
So anyway, this guy, he's from Lena, Mississippi, and he's a hunter. I don't know what he hunts.
Chupacabra.
He thinks well, apparently, he thinks he may have killed, a real-life chupacabra. His name is Matt Hugh Harrell.
What are you trying to say?
Matt Hugh Harrell. That's what I'm trying to say.
Very good pronunciation.
Okay. Well, I believe that's the correct way to pronounce it, too.
Yes.
Anyway, he's convinced that it's not a coyote because coyotes don't have blue skin, he says. He's also pretty sure this hairless beast isn't mangy. He shot it while hunting little black and white creatures.
Skunks.
As opposed to shooting it when he's not hunting.
Wait, raccoons aren't black and white, are they? Anyway. He was in Leake County, Mississippi. After seeing its glowing red eyes, this one was just lunging. He was down like a cat, Hugh Harrell said. And unlike a typical coyote, the beast moved to attack, Hugh Harrell said. And he goes on to say, when I was standing right yonder, he hit right here, and I was seeing teeth and red eyes. It looked like he was going to jump down there, and I didn't give him the chance.
Okay, so, 2 questions. Are you sure that Matthew Hugh Harrell isn't his first name? And question number 2, is he the gatekeeper?
I have no clue.
Are you the gatekeeper?
I'm just reading the news.
His description sounds like he killed the key holder or something.
Anyway, you can see the video on my YouTube channel. Slick Toys. That's SLIKTOYS. Go check it out.
How did chupacabras get all the way from like South America to Mississippi all of a sudden?
There was a very good question brought up by a guy on the Mulder's World Facebook group, or it might have been the Squatchers Lounge Facebook group. It was one of those Facebook groups.
Or it might have been bigfootcrossroads.blogspot.com.
It could have been that. But he says, how come, the chupacabra went from being this, lizard-like looking beast to a fucking mangy coyote?
Yeah, thing with like spikes on its back and wings, and
right.
Now it's a blue dog without hair.
And my answer to him was, a funny-looking dog is probably more acceptable, it's not as far-fetched as what a real chupacabra is supposed to look like, and so now that when people see something they can't identify, that anything close to a chupacabra, that's what we got.
Which means it's hairless and has pointed teeth.
My last cryptid of the week was a chupacabra, by the way, but I think it was just a mangy raccoon. So.
Ah.
All right, next news story. I gotta find it again. You guys got me all flustered. It was the video game, board game, UFO Hunters board game, and I lost it. You guys suck. Anyway, there's a new board game coming out. It's a UFO Hunters board game. You can look it up because I lost the story because you guys got me all messed up.
Does it come with road flares and balloons?
Weather balloons.
Yes.
And I lost the last story, too.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, wait. No. I got it. I'm here. I'm the greatest news guy there is. Most professional in the business.
Sorry, our
There's
teleprompter
nobody
just
better
went
than
down.
me. All right, here's the UFO Hunter board game. It says and this is from ghosttheory.com. I don't know who sells the damn thing. But,
Milton Bradley.
Okay, sure.
I'm lying. I don't know. Don't sue me. Fuck. It's Parker Brothers, you son of a bitch.
They'd have to listen to this show first.
Yeah, and nobody's listening at this point.
Don't worry, we're safe.
The busy Christmas shopping season is coming up, bringing questions of what to get the hard-to-shop for Ghost Theory reader, or Fortean Slip listener. Now the field of ufology has entered the realm of board games. The only way to get yours is to contribute to a Kickstarter program. In the board game, UFO Hunter, each player travels across the globe looking for tangible extraterrestrial evidence in order to beat the competition.
And
who would be nobody, you fucking loser. If somebody actually got this game, when are they ever going to have an opportunity to play it? They're never going to have friends come over because they don't have any because they're buying a game like this.
I would buy this game. Why did it get so tough?
Case in point.
Players must carefully choose the best time to travel, buy the right equipment, conduct the proper
by
research,
checking the alert
of news
status
sightings.
from the Department of Homeland Security.
Rumors may turn out to be nothing or even a trap set by governments or private individuals. Even exposing hoaxes can be beneficial to leading you to the truth and ultimately to victory. So check out ghosttheory.com and donate to their Kickstarter program, and you can too have
tinfoil hats sold separately. I would just like to let anybody listening know that if you'll send us $100, we'll make a game about anything you want and give it to you as well.
Fuck, I'll do it for 50.
You're not supposed to outbid your own shows, Steve.
What the fuck?
I'm just trying to get money, man. I'm not outbidding the show. I'm outbidding you, man.
Touche.
But anyway,
what you're getting for Christmas?
UFO hunters?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait. Anyway, from Nebraska, we got a 7-foot Bigfoot. You guys got me all fucked up again. The news is supposed to be serious business, guys. And every time I try to read the news, you guys interrupt me.
Hey, we are very respectful and take all news seriously.
All right. Well, this is a good one because it's a Bigfoot story. So
I take the Colbert Report seriously.
Yeah. Before July, Saunders County Sheriff Kevin Stukenholtz had never fielded a call about Bigfoot over a lifetime in law enforcement. It doesn't say how long the lifetime is. He might be 20. I don't know. Anyway, now he has a big mystery on his hands. Stukenholtz, I like that name. Along with
Get in here, Stukenholtz.
It just reminds me of, what was that TV show with Hogan's Heroes? It reminds me of that. Stukenholtz, along with Nebraska Game and Parks Commission, investigated a reporting sighting of an unidentified hairy creature in late July on a country road that parallels the Platte River. A hair sample found at the site was still being analyzed. It says a 15-year-old reported seeing the creature, which he said stood about 7 feet tall on 2 legs as it ran in front of the vehicle the youth was driving about 5:30 a.m. The creature then disappeared into the trees along the river.
The youth also reported having smoked an entire joint prior to this.
The hair samples
kids at
came back
15
as
drive in
synthetic
Nebraska?
fibers.
Damn. Anyway, Stukenholtz, who became county sheriff 6 years ago after a long career with the Nebraska State Patrol, said he has no reason to believe the report was a hoax. His office is awaiting a report about the hair gathered from the scene between Morse Bluff and Linwood, about 60 miles west of Omaha.
So we go from having never received any reports on Bigfoot in his lifelong career to he has no reason to believe it's a hoax.
Jeff Meldrum, an anthropology and anatomy professor at Idaho State University, who has extensively studied Bigfoot sightings, said he's skeptical of any reports from Nebraska because the state doesn't have enough expansive wilderness necessary for a large primate. But Meldrum, the author of a 2009 book, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, said that despite some Bigfoot hoaxes, people shouldn't discount that such creatures might exist. There's ample evidence to indicate there has to be something out there, Meldrum said in a television interview. What it is exactly yet to be determined.
And if there is,
that's the news.
He wants to look at their feet.
And there's a crazed 17-year-old Nebraska boy
15
looking up
15
15,
sorry.
Wait a second, they let 15-year-olds drive in Nebraska?
Yeah,
it's Nebraska.
No,
they let them marry their cousins. Why wouldn't they let them drive?
What are you saying, Matt?
I just pissed off the entire state of Nebraska.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
Pissed off.
Hey, in the last episode, we said that Omaha, Nebraska was, supposed to be the capital of the
capital of the United States. What is Nebraska like the hub of Fortean mysteries or something?
It's where it's all going down.
They do have a Sasquatch music festival in central Washington, but that's not nowhere near Nebraska.
Yes. That was completely off fucking topic.
I don't know.
I just wanted to say something.
It was in the news story. It was in the news story. It was the part I skipped over to get to Jeff Meldrum.
And
because I wanted to hear what you had to say about Mr. Dr. Meldrum.
And on that note, folks, I think we will wrap up. I'm not going to go through the multitude of lists of the people that we promote.
Because you probably haven't listened this long anyway.
Yes, correct.
I mentioned it.
And if you are, they'll be at the fucking end anyway. This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 3. We'd like to say it was good and professional, but we know better. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Travis Walton.
For listening.
No, you're not.
And the state of Nebraska.
I'm sorry to that ugly actress woman.
Are ya?
Chris, are you sorry for anything?
I'm sorry for this show.
I have no more to say. I think we're done.
We're never done.
Shit. You mean we gotta do this again?
Yeah. None of it recorded.